Good morning. This is Patrick. I went out for my morning hike and it was almost still dark. I have to wait for the sun to get up. I get up real early. And anyway, you know, I haven't talked much about the Supreme Court, but I believe I did this a couple weeks ago or a month ago, maybe. I have to go back and look. I can't remember. But I always got Kavanaugh getting on the Supreme Court. All right. And this woman in California, her credibility will go down every day. That's the sort of thing. So I think they're going to eventually find a way to round this to move forward, and they're going to have a vote. And I don't know all these people. One guy, he was a prosecutor. His name is, what was his name? G. Giovannivo. He kind of said, if they don't put Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court, and this succeeds in derailing the nomination, then the Republicans will lose the Senate. He thought it was guaranteed. I mean, he thought it was that important. You got to show some backbone here, you know. You have to get into the dogfight. Get into the dogfight. You can't be. And this is politics. This is New York politics, and this is something Trump is very good at. Is bare knuckle, get things done. The opposition is international Marxist-Leninism, and that brings me to the other point. I was thinking about the State Department, that they have a Veritas video out showing a State Department employee saying he is disrupting everything to do with Trump's agenda. He's a resistor. This is an employee of the American people actively interfering in American policy. It's borderline treason. I mean, that's borderline treason. And he's going to be toast. They got his photo. He's on the video. But how many people are like him in the State Department? I would say historically the State Department has been Marxist. And they say, oh, that's because we go to good schools and stuff. Well, is that what they're teaching in good schools, to be Marxist, Leninist, and anti the average American? The standard of living for the average American has actually gone down somewhat, and the stress level has gone up. It's not very nice being alive in some of these cities under the Democrats and these Marxists. It's very stressful. And so here we are. I doused the State Department average employee, the soul, their view of Russian and Russia's. All right? I got a negative 7, which is just going into the critical want war segment. They hate Russia. They hate them. You can't believe this. They just hate them. And this has always been there. They want war with Russia. That's what it means. Their policy is war. And that's why they're upset with Trump, because he wants to work with Russia, even though we have all these sanctions. And then you go to the Department of Defense, and you go, okay, the average, officer corps, I'll do it again, the officer corps, it shouldn't be any difference with the regular, but just the officer corps view of Russia and our working relations with Russia. It's like, we're like that. We're like close. We respect them. They're the same people. The Russian officers and the American officers think alike in their worldview and what their relationship should be. So, and then you go across the Potomac to the State Department, and they want war with Russia. So you can see a civil war within the State Department. And that is why Trump moved a West Point graduate, number 1 in his class, to head of the State Department. And and they're going to resist him. But he's a bureaucratic man, organizational man. He knows how these government organizations work, where the money is. And you probably end up using the money to start cutting away the fat. And I'm sure they're going to reduce the size of the State Department. I think that's, and then when we saw earlier last week, I measured the CIA versus the NSA versus the State Department. And the CIA is also a rogue department. So between the CIA and the State Department, those are the two rogue departments. And they probably should just be dismantled because they're going to get us into war. The CIA and the State Department are working full time to get us into war. And these are the people that went to the fine schools. Really, in general. I'm talking Harvard, Yale, Princeton. They go into the State Department. They go into the CIA. And why do they want this conflict?